welcome back to a brand new video. I'm Carl here at Carl Stacey Guitar Tuition, and today we're going to specifically talk about one thing. In a lot of my past videos I've done top 3 this, top 3 that. I want to hone in on one thing today and talk about blocking off strings and blocking off notes and how important this is to your guitar playing and making you sound the difference between you sounding like a beginner, an intermediate, or an intermediate and an expert, in terms of if you want to get kind of technical on the levels sort of aspect, right? And that thing is blocking strings off. So what I mean by blocking strings off, and this is a conversation that I have with students over and over again all the time, because a lot of students say we get power chords down, right? So you've got like this. You've got some version of a very simple kind of power chord progression down, which involves the A string as the root note. When I'm playing that, for example, I'm going to be playing all of the strings. Just to over-exaggerate that a little bit to make it as clear as possible, right? But obviously, I see this all the time with students, just the whole having to be careful about strumming just those 3. So it makes things like strumming patterns a lot harder and more to think about, because you've got to be careful not to hit all these other extra strings, rather than just strumming away as to what you would see professional level guitar player doing in a video, on a stage, things like this, which is this sort of thing that you'll see all the time. As you can see and as you can hear, I'm just strumming away, and that is what I'm doing, all right? So I'm not really thinking too much about it. I'm not thinking too deeply. I'm not trying to be careful about all of these other little intricacies that you are probably thinking about as a beginner guitar player. So let's just talk about that for a moment. And what I mean by that is, let's say you're gonna play a fret 3 power chord right here. If you wanna grab your guitar and do that for me. We wanna block off this thick E string, and we want to block off the B and the E strings, all right? So the way to do that is very quick, very simple, very easy. You just need to get your head around it and then put the practice in, of course. So with this first finger right here, I'm going to zoom in right here because I'm sat quite far away from the camera. This is the shape I have. This first finger is ever so slightly with the tip of the finger touching that thick E string, right? So I'm not actually playing the 3 on the tip of the finger. I'm also using the slightly fatter part of the finger so that I have space to touch that string at the top, okay? Then you've got the rest of the power chord. That first finger is responsible for everything when it comes to this today, okay? So just bear that in mind. So that's step number 1. That's thing number 1. Step number 2 and thing number 2 to access this today, the curvature of the finger that you see right here on your power chord pattern, your power chord shape. If you arch that ever so slightly, you don't want it to be flat because then it'll turn into a bar chord. You don't want it to be completely off of the frets like this, because then you're missing the point completely. You want it to be slightly resting, gently, nice and comfortably arching across the strings like that. So with that one index finger, you're touching the thick E string and you're arching the top of the finger to get the thin strings. That way you're going to block the stick string, and you're also going to block the thin strings here. That way you can then start playing your practicing your power chords fully and properly, and putting some strum patterns in there and not having to think or worry or stress about all these other intricacies and extra notes and extra things that I know you're worried about and I know you're thinking about right now. So whether you're strumming like that or you're palm muting, this is effective, this can work, this will work, all right? So that's what I want you to try today, to try and get your guitar playing leveled up, to try and make it a little bit more intricate, a little bit more accurate, therefore sounding ultimately way, way better than it currently sounds. That is the plan, that is the goal. This is easier than you think. It's obviously, like anything, going to take some time to get the knack of it, get the gist of it, and to put the practice in, start working on some songs that have power chords in there to kind of force it and push it a little bit. Other than that, you can also try that in future reference to single note picking things as well. So say, for example, you've got like a guitar solo. Say you've got something high up, kind of single note melody guitar solo territory like that. That same method and that same approach can then also be applied to that down the line as well. Because something I see all the time when I'm doing solos with people, like there can be like, if you're not blocking and you're not covering things and stuff like that, you can then get other notes ringing out, especially with a high distorted gain amp, okay? So in a nutshell, the way I'm doing that one is I'm using the right hand for that rather than the left hand. all right, if you're a normal way guitar player, of course. Opposite if you're a lefty. So when I'm playing high up to block off notes and things like that, I'm actually using the palm of this right hand, and I'm not palm muting, obviously, right? That's an entirely different situation. I'm literally just resting on the strings and then leaving room to hit that note right there. That will cover. You get that level of accuracy there that you're always wanted, that you're always looking after, okay? All right, thank you very much once again for watching and listening today. I really appreciate it. Tune in next time and we'll keep things like this up as much as possible. Otherwise, see you then. Peace and joy.